Good to see you, Robbie. Hey, welcome out to another awesome episode of Speak from the Couch. I'm your host, Rob Lee. Happy to be here with you. Thanks for joining us. Today we have with us my man and friend, Robbie Tubajon from Lululemon. And listen, we've got a lot of content to unpack, but I want to say, if you haven't already listened to it or seen it, log in on Spotify or YouTube and check out our last episode with comedian Chris Kane. Super funny, some great stories in there, and I'll leave it there. So listen, Robbie, we have you on today's show because of the impact that you've made here in our community. You're not originally from Miami, right?
No, I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I'm a Canadian.
But you've been down here now for how many years?
It's going to be 5 years now.
Wow. Time flies, man. Time flies. So, you were tasked, well, you tell us, you were tasked with a specific mandate when you got into our community. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So at the time we had this specific role called the Maven role that we had in cities across North America that we sort of deemed as the cities where we can kind of come into and really learn from the city and get a feel for what makes it tick, from an inspiration and energy perspective. And for us, it was important for us to have like our finger on the pulse to see, how these cities are doing what they're doing. And so my job was to come into Miami and really get an understanding of what, where the heartbeat was. And
so you landed here 5 years ago from Vancouver to learn the market and help to grow the brand in the market as appropriately as possible, right?
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
Okay.
And the growth of the brand was a supporting part of it, and there really was, Miami is such a unique culture, especially coming from Vancouver. Our company is really West Coast living, it's like
what's the big difference there? You said Miami's unique in that sense. Tell me what you mean there.
I feel like it is an incredibly multicultural, multinational city. Like it almost doesn't feel like a real American
part of the United States.
Yeah. I hope I don't offend anybody by saying that, but
nah, it's true.
I think it's true. It's like cosmopolitan, international. And it's just got this, I don't know, there's a vibe about it that is just so different from anywhere else that I visited in the United States.
I can totally agree with that. And I grew up, here, but anywhere I visit is just totally different from here. So what was like one of the big challenges that you saw in building community or learning the environment here?
Yeah, I think what really stood out for me was, for me personally, was just the idea of coming into a brand new culture. And I should say like cultures, because there's so many cultures here. And so to understand, each and every culture and how they get mixed into this melting pot of Miami, and really who is a part of each one of those cultures and communities, and how they, really meld together in a beautiful way.
Did you see a blend in the different cultures, 5 years ago versus now, or is it more integrated now?
I think that's the beauty of Miami, is that there's a blending, but there's also still like a lot of the cultures are so powerful and vibrant on their own.
Yeah. And
I don't think that'll ever change. And I don't think.
Yeah, that's a great way of saying we're still segregated. But very diplomatic.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. I think that there could be there's some real challenges that are involved with that, obviously.
Yeah.
And I also think that there's like definitely a stigma coming from Vancouver to Miami about what Miami is all about.
What was that preconceived notion, or I don't know if it's true, but what was that stigma?
Oh, I mean, it's like any song that's made about Miami. It's, you know, like at the amount of times when I was telling people that I was moving to Miami, how many times they started singing the Will Smith song. I'm like, you guys. And then how many times when people would come visit would say like, we got to go do whatever it is that they're singing about in the songs. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, there's more to Miami than just the Will Smith song, you know, like.
Talk to me a little bit about what you saw that was more than just music video related, or, you know, the stereotypical Miami is all about South Beach and party. What was your experience beyond that?
I think what I discovered, I know that I discovered people who are really invested in bringing forth that cultural side of Miami, right? Like all of the rich and deep things that exist here. And there's a real hunger to be able to bring those things to the surface.
Yep.
And there's a big community of people who are really invested in and committed to it. So that was really cool, like to find those people. I think you're one of those people, Rob, that I definitely feel I wanted to latch onto, because I was just like, I wanted to find that piece of it that isn't South Beach, and that really provided the soul that I think that a lot of people believe that Miami doesn't have because of the stigma that it has. Right.
So was that like, that was intentional then? You came here, you learned the environment, you wanted to connect with, you know, people who I guess had the values that you were looking for in terms of culture and community. And then what? After that, after you identified those folks like me and other people down here, then what was next?
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there, is the values piece, right? So like there's a part of it, I was looking for values that align with my own and with the culture of our organization, and you know, we are really big on the idea of building relationships. Mm-hmm. And so from there, it was just a matter of just getting into relationships with the right people. And, mm-hmm. you know, whether we did things or not with people, it was really important for me to be able to have these people close and inform how we could support. And what, you know, like we've always been a hyper local company. Like we always want to support local. Right. Like that's the way that we were built. And so it doesn't make sense. It never makes sense for us to go in and be like, this is what we can give to you. It's more of like, what can we support you with in order to elevate your voice, your effort, your energy, in order to bring the gifts that you have to benefit the rest of the community.
Yeah. And I felt that personally, and you know, with our project. Who makes the best president here? Donald Trump, George Bush, or Joe Exotic?
The best president here in Miami?
Miami. Donald Trump, George Bush, George W., or Joe Exotic?
Okay. I mean, gosh, Joe Exotic, come on. How do you...
So what are you doing to keep balance during this time, the COVID time? And I mean, because you're a guy that you know, when we last were working out, you get at it pretty aggressively. Like I think your goal was two workouts a day for the entire year. I don't know if you still have that as a target or you've exceeded that. What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, this has been an interesting thing for me because of the fact that, you know, I mean, I work remotely already, so I'm at home a lot. This hasn't changed, but working out in my living room has been challenging. So, you know, I've been able to get out and go for runs and go for bike rides and really enjoy this beautiful weather that we have.
Yep.
And I know that that's like a luxury for people to be able to do those things. But a big part of what I've taken on, not just during this time, is almost like a menu of things that add value personally. Mm-hmm. Journaling, meditation, obviously the movement, connection has been the number one. So Zoom I mean, gosh, if it wasn't for Zoom, I'm not sure what I'd be doing right now, because connection is for me, it's the antidote to chaos.
So, you got here, you learned the environment, you identified with some folks, you connected with those folks, you were really successful, in my opinion, in building out awareness and building community here. Are you utilizing technology now primarily to keep that community together and grow it, or what are you doing?
Yeah. So, about a month and a half ago, a couple buddies and I realized that this is a time where people are going to be needing connection in a different way, maybe even in a more intense way. And so we started this virtual conversation series called Village Voices. And the main premise is just to connect people from all walks of life and learn about each other, learn from each other, and create just a little taste of that connectivity that could be missing now. And what we've stumbled upon is a new way of connecting people through depth. And so if I was going to relate this to Miami and the conversation about Miami, is that it's, I would say it's not any different than any other city where you're walking into it and but to create depth of conversation, to create depth of connection is difficult.
So if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would that be?
A pizza or burgers. One of the two. It's not very healthy, but that's just, yeah.
Really not what I was expecting, Robbie.
What were you thinking? You were going to say like an acai bowl or like kale salad? No, man. Just because
something like that.
I work out to eat that stuff, bro. Like,
what are you finding with the folks that you are, in your community now? What's their main need?
It's interesting. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yep.
So there's a part of it that I think people are missing stability right now, and stability in like their normal lives, right, or however it is that you want to describe normal, whatever that means. And, I think that instability has created things like people buying loads of toilet paper. And, because they're trying to figure out ways to find stability. And so I think the biggest need is stability right now, is to feel like there's a normality that is being returned. And I think the tough part is that it's not going to be normal when we go back.
F, marry, kill. J-Lo, Shakira, or Ariana Grande?
Shakira. I don't even know what your question is, but
F, marry, kill. Who would you
F, marry, kill.
Who would you marry?
Guys,
who would you kill?
I missed that part. I thought that was okay. Okay. So J-Lo, Shakira, and who?
Ariana Grande.
Kill Ariana Grande.
Okay, let's take her out. That was way too easy. Natalie Portman.
Oh, why do you got to do that to me, man?
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, marry her. F.
Wow. Okay.
F Shakira. Kill J-Lo.
Kill J-Lo?
Yep.
That's impressive. Okay, you personally identified any opportunities during COVID?
In terms of opportunities?
In general, anything.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah.
Catching up on your sleep, I don't know.
No, I think I got there's a bigger opportunity that I've identified. And it goes back to this whole conversation around going back to normality. And I know that there's a lot of conversation out there. People are urging people to slow down now and like to take this time to slow down. Yeah. And to like, be with themselves and give themselves that grace. But I actually think that, and I'm not discounting that part. I think that that's really important. I also think that this is an incredible opportunity to reflect on who you are and how can you reinvent yourself coming into this new normal that's going to occur at some point.
Okay.
What have you always wanted to try or do or add or be? And how could you create that possibility now and moving forward?
And do you mind sharing what you've uncovered, like personally?
Yeah, I think personally, the opportunity for me is to live the true reality that makes sense for me. So I'm not married. I don't have kids. There was often this conversation in my head around, am I like behind on these things? And not to say that I don't want those things or don't need them, but I always felt like that I was on this like weird timeline, and that somehow my legacy or impact were tied to those things, and like the definition of who I was tied to having to check those off, and I believe that I can make impact in a lot of different ways, through connection, through the relationship that I have, through the impact that I can make with people. And so to really step into that space and be unapologetic about when somebody asks me, hey, so like, when are you getting married? Or like, are you married yet? To not shy away from, a shame or an embarrassment about that question, and stand in like who I am right now and what I'm bringing to the world.
Okay. Round two of F, Marry, Kill. Okay. Ready? Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, or Elizabeth Warren?
Oh gosh, man, this is rough.
The Democratic trifecta.
Oh man, I would kill Hillary first.
Okay.
F Pelosi and Mary. Yeah, come on. These are great choices to begin with. And then marry Elizabeth Warren. I think she'd be a cool wife.
If you had the opportunity to choose what you could be or who you could be reincarnated as, what would that be, or who would that
be? Could it be anyone, like anyone in history?
Anyone or anything.
Oh God, I feel like I want to be reincarnated as Kevin Hart, because he just, the guy looks like he has so much freaking fun, and he's so funny.
You know what? That guy keeps coming up on our podcast episodes. He was on. We had a big story about him last week with Chris Kane. It was really funny. Yeah.
Well, don't you think that that's like a good answer?
I think it's a great answer.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to be Kevin Hart?
Right? I mean, he's not perfect. None of us are. And I love the new evolution of Kevin Hart. Honestly, like, he's gotten a bad rap and said and done things that are not great, but like, he's one of these celebrities who comes out and has like stood in the fire. Love him or hate him for those things, like, at least he's out there and he's talking about it. So I respect him for that. Big time.
His honesty, his work ethic is second to none. I mean, it looks like a lot of fun, but even if doing fun stuff was your job, this guy takes it seriously. Right.
And there's a commitment that he has, and it's funny, like, because I think about the word integrity, right? Mm-hmm. And people will be like, well, he cheated on his wife and he said some really horrible things. And I'm like, integrity is not about being perfect. It's about like doing what you say and saying and being able to like keep your word. But it's also when you mess up is to be able to call yourself out and be able to like come back to it. That's integrity. It's not about being perfect all the time.
Yeah. If you knew if you had a guarantee that you couldn't fail at doing something, what would that something be?
Oh man, I would be a professional poker player. 1,000%. I love poker. And I feel it sounds so weird. I know.
Poker and hamburgers.
Or I would be like a lounge singer. Like, I don't want to be an Ariana Grande size star. I want to like just
more like a Kevin Hart size star.
No, not even that big. That's too big. It's like a kind of like a dodgy cabaret lounge singer. And then, I smoke cigarettes and drink whiskey afterwards. And then,
This Lululemon gig was the right thing for you. Listen,
yeah.
Robbie, thank you for being such a gracious guest on our show. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and insight with us. Listen, for those of you watching or listening, tune in to all of our episodes on Spotify, Speak Miami Podcast, or on YouTube, Speak Miami, on Instagram at Speak Fridays. We're all over the place. So, hope to catch you there. We are very appreciative of you guys staying connected and keeping this community growing and thriving during this time. I know it's been a very, very challenging time for everyone. We want to wish everyone good luck and stay safe and sanitized. And if you're interested on sponsoring the show, just email or direct message us on any of the platforms. And that's it. Robbie, we love you, man. Any final shout outs or anything like that you want?
Yeah, I want to shout you out, man, because you have been like the beacon for culture in Miami, and I just feel like anybody who gets behind you is getting behind something that is valuable, worthwhile, and impactful. So I just want to acknowledge you for the spirit that you brought into it, and it comes from your heart too, which is like the best. It's the best, man. So
Robbie, thank you very much, man. All right, listen, we'll see you next episode. Next episode we have comedian extraordinaire Esther Koo from MTV Girl Code and all over the place. And yeah, she's going to be streaming in live with us next week from LA. So hope you can join us. Robbie, thank you. A million thank yous. And we'll connect offline, my man. See you guys.